Now to the legal fight over abortion rights in Texas. Within days, the most restrictive law in the nation was enacted and then blocked and then reinstated once again. ABC's Rachel Scott followed one young woman who traveled out of state to get an abortion. Rachel has this report.
This isn't the senior trip 21-year-old college student Maddie had hoped for.
It's always my favorite winter.
But when she decided she wanted an abortion, she knew she would have to leave Texas to get one.
When she told me that I was measuring at 10.5 weeks, I just cried. I was heartbroken and terrified because I felt like the only option that I knew I had was gone.
How did you tell your parents?
I was like, okay, I'm pregnant. I'm sorry. Because at that moment I felt like I was a disappointment. After that, I started researching with the materials that Planned Parenthood gave me and looked into Louisiana, and Louisiana has booked out 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yes.
How many clinics would you say you called altogether?
Easily 30, if not more.
Nearby states have been flooded with calls since the most restrictive abortion ban in the nation went into effect, banning procedures as early as 6 weeks into a woman's pregnancy and before some women even know they're pregnant.
And at 6 weeks, you didn't even know you were pregnant?
Not even close. I was still living my life as regular and as carefree of a college kid as I could be.
Maddie called the only clinic left in Mississippi. They had just one appointment. She drove more than 400 miles, but learned the clinic couldn't schedule the actual procedure for another week. That meant she had to go back to Texas and return to Mississippi for a second time.
I am 13 weeks pregnant right now. I found out at 10.5, and I'm not in a place to have a baby. I have graduation to look forward to. I have me trying to start my whole career and my entire life ahead of me. And my life is on hold right now.
You didn't plan to be pregnant at this period in your life?
Absolutely not. I was in a committed relationship, but things happened. It didn't work out. But I was on birth control. I didn't want a family.
You know, I think people watching this may have the question of, if you were on birth control, how could you possibly be pregnant? How would you respond to people that say that?
Birth control's not 100%.
So if your plan does work, in less than 24 hours, you would no longer be pregnant. What does that mean to you?
It means I can get back to my life. I can throw myself into my school, catch back up, hopefully get ahead.
We followed her as she traveled back to Mississippi. The clinic director there says they've had a dramatic increase in patients since the Texas law went into effect.
The new Texas law is not deterring people from getting an abortion. We've been even busier because now we're seeing even a lot more patients from Texas. We've almost doubled our capacity, honestly. Right now, our phones are ringing nonstop because of this.
There were so many emotions going on at once that it was a blur. And I think honestly just the fear of the unknown was ever present.
My name is Jane, and I'm a nurse, and I'm going to help you get ready for your procedure today.
The wait was long,
Just have a seat right here.
but Maddie was confident in the choice she was making.
I have had people voice their opinions to me over the past few weeks that I've known that I've been pregnant, and some are saying that they're extremely supportive of me and it's my body, my choice, and some are not. Some are saying that they still support my decision, but they wish that I chose a different option. But no matter what they've said, my decision hasn't wavered, because it's my body and it's my choice. So it's a lot to be going through it, but I'm glad that I'm able to kind of shine a light, give people a little bit of that sense of control back that I feel like I've been lacking in this process.
Hours after Maddie returned to Texas, a federal judge put the law on pause, ruling that it was unconstitutional.
Of course, the day of my procedure and finally getting home, we found out this huge news. Good news, but still huge. And I was like frustrated. I was like, wow, just one more day. And I possibly could have avoided all of this trouble of having to go to Mississippi twice. First driving, then flying back the same day as my procedure.
But that ruling did not hold. A U.S. appeals court reinstating the law just 48 hours later, once again bringing nearly all abortions in the state to a halt.
There were so many unneeded obstacles that I managed to get over, but many women won't. The need to move my entire life essentially out of state for a day and have to go through such an emotional process and not be able to immediately go home, that's uncalled for. Abortions are healthcare, and it is my body, my choice, just like it's that stranger's body and her choice. And no one should have to go through what I've had to go through.
Regardless of where you sit on the issue, you have to commend the bravery of that woman for sharing her story. Rachel Scott joins us now. And Rachel, now we've seen this this new law here, as controversial as it is, passed, blocked, reinstated, bouncing back and forth. Where do women stand right now in terms of abortion rights in Texas?
Yeah, it's really been whiplash for a lot of these women and for clinics, frankly, in Texas, where they've been stuck in limbo, going back and forth between the courts. One judge says one thing, the Fifth Circuit says another thing. Bottom line right now, most women who want an abortion will have to travel out of the state to get one, just like Maddie did. But, you know, for so many women, Trevor, low-income women, women of color, that is just really not an option for them. They just don't really have the means to travel. And so that's part of the reason why Maddie said that she was speaking up, because she wanted to share her story on behalf of all those women who wouldn't be able to do exactly what she did.
I'm curious, in that little window when it was blocked, did abortion clinics in Texas, did they resume? That
Only a handful. And I was on the ground and I called dozens of clinics trying to get a sense of how many are going to be fully resuming abortion, procedures there in the state of Texas. Really only 3 or 4 did.
Yeah.
The other ones said that they just really could not take this chance, because the special part about this law is that these clinics could be sued retroactively if the law is reinstated.
Right.
And so for a lot of them, they just said it's really just not worth the risk.
Yeah, it's a law that really kind of is one of a kind. I can remember in government class in high school when we would talk about laws or political issues of all kinds, abortion was the thing that was off limits. These are divided times now. This has been the divisive issue for as long as we go back.
Yep.
I'm curious, now that people are talking about this so vocally, including that woman, I just want to hear about what people were saying in Texas when you were there.
Well, you really have two sides of this, and it is so divisive. You have groups, anti-abortion groups, that are saying, this is great. We want other states to copy this. This is the blueprint. This is the model. Let's do this in other states. Let's just do this across the country. Even though it makes no exception for rape or incest, they still see that this is really the blueprint and the model for what it should be, and they want Roe versus Wade overturned. And then on the other side, you have people who say this trumps on my constitutional right, that this stops me from exercising control over my own body, and they believe that it should be stopped. The Supreme Court is going to have to be the one to take up this issue, and they will next year.
And that is where everyone is looking at it. And it's just one of those issues where it seems like both sides are just talking right past each other, digging in. Rachel Scott, incredible reporting, and you're going to have a lot more on Nightline tonight, and everyone should tune into that. Rachel, thanks for being here. A treat to have you in New York.
Good to be here.
Thanks for coming up.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.